You buy 1,000 shares in a company at 5 and it crashes, goes all the way to 4. What you are now in is recovery mode. Your number one objective is to break even and get your money back. But as that stock starts to climb, it can be tempting to change your mind. So when that stock goes from 4 to 450, what you're thinking is, man, if I'd bought it at 4, I'd be up $500 by now. And when that stock hits 475, you're thinking, man, if I'd bought it at 4, I'd be up $750 by now. But that's the wrong mentality, because that convinces you that, well, if it went from 4 to 475, it goes from 5, it'll go to 575 or 6. But when you've been sitting on a loss for that long, your number one objective is to break even or thereabouts and get your money back. Now, ideally, you would have sold it at 480 on the way down and had a minimal loss. But I know that can be hard for some people. Also, keep in mind that your stock might not rebound. It might stay at 4 forever, and that's a lesson too. Look, I'm at a different angle because I'm charging my phone. Don't keep justifying a losing position. I know a lot of people will get in on a stock to day trade it and it drops. And instead of cutting their losses, they go, well, I was going to day trade it, but now I'm going to swing trade it. Then it drops lower and they're like, well, I was gonna day trade it, but then I decided to swing trade it. But now I think I'm just gonna go long on this position and I'm gonna hold it. And then 2 years go by and they don't recoup their funds and they go, well, I'm just gonna sell it at a loss to offset my taxes. Don't be that guy. Cut your losers. Prevent yourself from getting into this mess in the first place where you have to keep justifying your decision to hold because you can't admit that you're wrong, and free up the cash to make more trades. It's not necessarily just for day trading. Really, it's for anyone who doesn't cut their losses ever, including me. 10 years ago, when I first started trading, I didn't know shit about stop losses. Not even really a stop loss, like a set one on the computer, but like just cutting your losses when the stock starts to drop. That didn't occur to me. Nobody told me to do that. So I would listen to these people that I knew from my gym, and they would say, buy this, buy that. And I would be like, okay. And then I would just buy these garbage random stocks, and they would plummet. And I would sit on these humongous losses going like, well, what now? Until one day, someone was like, why don't you just cut your losses? And I was like, oh, I'm still in recovery mode on some of those stocks. They're losers, and they'll always be losers. On the plus side, I can always sell those losers at a loss to offset my taxes, which sucks, but works, kind of. I mean, I'd rather not have the losses, but you know, what are you gonna do? Not quite. And I appreciate your question because it gives me an opportunity to talk about something else. Averaging down is when you buy more stock in a position at a much lower price. So look at it this way. If you had 100 shares in a company that was $10 a share, it would cost you $1,000. Now, let's say it's a very good company, one you plan on holding forever, and they have some bad news and the stock goes to $5 a share. You buy another 100 shares at $5 a share, and you have spent now $1,500 on 200 shares. So you divide that $1,500 by 200, and it gives you $750, and that is your new average price. Now, in order to be profitable, you don't have to wait for your stock to go from 5 to 10 anymore. All you have to do is wait for it to go from 5 to $7.50. Another strategy with our averaging down is to buy more shares at a lower price. So instead of 100, you would buy, say, 200 or 300, lowering your overall average cost even more. Sort of, maybe. It depends. It really does depend on the company. You definitely don't want to throw good money after bad, right? The last thing you want to do is dump a bunch of money into a loser like a penny stock that's been pumped and dumped. But a lot of good companies have bad earnings or scandals or fraud or things like that. And while they get crushed in the short term, they'll rebound. And in that short-term agony, while they're firing whoever they need to fire, cleaning house or whatever they need to do, it's a great opportunity to load up on more stock at a cheaper price. Chipotle is a great example of this. They were around $700 a share a couple years ago, and then they had all these scandals. There were rats falling from the ceilings, salmonella outbreaks everywhere, people were getting really sick, and the stock went from 700 to 300. Everyone was like, RIP Chipotle, you done. But take a look at this. This is where Chipotle is like today. What the fuck, dude? Anyone who averaged down when it was 300? If you're not looking at your screen, check it out right now. I just put on a chart of Chipotle over a 3-year period so you can see exactly what happened. Sure, kind of. Yeah, sort of. Not really, but maybe. Yeah, I guess it can be. No, not really. Dollar cost average. Sorry. The haters on this app are driving me fucking crazy, so I'm dealing with one of them right now. So I appreciate your question that gets me back on the point of this channel, which is to help people and answer questions and shit like that. Dollar cost averaging is usually a strategy where you add to a position every month. And it can be, dollar amount, like $100 on the first of the month. Or it can be shares, I'll buy 5 shares or 1 share, depending, right? Like Apple, maybe you're getting 1 share a month. Averaging down is more like, you buy a company and then you hold it forever and some bad earnings report came out and you're like, well, I like this company and it's basically on sale, so I'm going to buy more at a lower price. So sort of the same, but different.